I really, really hope that we can achieve qualification for Champions League like ASAP. I don't want to put a time frame on it because obviously we all know that it's in the forefront of our mind.
Yeah.
But if it just be unbelievable for United with the fans that we have to play in the best competition in the world. Obviously, I'm talking about for your club now.
Yeah.
Like that would be just
with
incredible,
the fans,
honestly.
We should
with
have.
the fans,
yeah.
Because
You
for
mentioned
sure with
the fans there. How difficult is it for yourself now without the fans being there? Do you find it a lot different?
It is different, yeah. It is different. It's just like so quiet, and I think that's one of the big attractions about Man United is the fans are so vocal, so loud, will really get behind you, and I think it's so intimidating for opposition to come and play against us, and it gives us such a buzz to know that we're putting in performances that make people proud and make people want to cheer for us and know that we're representing well. Like that's what we want to do, you know, like we want people to look at us wearing the shirt and go, yeah, exactly, that's what Man United's about. So for sure it's very different, and hopefully with the new government announcement, maybe one day soon, they'll be back, maybe in small numbers to start with, but to be honest, it doesn't even matter at this point. Just get people back in ASAP.
Just anybody.
So. Anyone. Got my dad in there. My mum, I don't mind. Brother and sister will come along, I'm sure.
When did you start to hear whispers, though, of Manchester United potentially building a team?
Of them building a team? I mean, I feel like it was something that was spoken about so frequently behind closed doors.
But you must have had, you must have lots of friends that were playing over here that, you know, were saying, oh, I've heard this.
You know what? No, I think... Not really, and you know, whispers sometimes never turn into things, so we don't really listen to them. But I think I don't even know when I first heard about it actually, but I think there was definitely behind the whole of English football, there was a real desire for Man United to create a women's team. Like everybody wanted it for so many different reasons, but everybody wanted it because you want all the big teams in the women's game. And you know, if Man United are going to come and do something, then they're going to do it properly. So I think that was, and I think obviously I'm biased for sure, but I'm very, very happy that's happened.
How did that come about, the United move?
Again, very, very late. I was at the World Cup, and then, I knew that I wasn't going to stay another season at Wolfsburg because I wasn't playing as much as what I would have liked to, and I always in my head was like, I'm going to go there for a year, like push myself out my comfort zone, and then I'm going to come home and hopefully use what I've learned, you know, because when the goalkeeper that was there, she was a very, very, very good goalkeeper, and I didn't feel like I was ever going to push past the German number one in Germany in a time frame that I thought, like, I didn't want to sit on the bench and do that. I wanted to play week in, week out, and I felt I had a lot to give. So again, that happened very late, World Cup, and then must have been midway through, I got a call about being, you know, to see if I'd be interested, and I was like, yeah, definitely.
Midway through the World Cup?
Midway through the World Cup, yeah. Because
who phoned you at the time?
I don't know. I don't know if Casey phoned me first or my agent. I don't know who it was, but I'd known Casey from playing in the senior team with her.
Yeah.
So I know I definitely spoke to. Obviously, my agent told me at some point. I spoke to Casey while I was out there. I spoke to Wilco, the goalkeeper coach, and they were sort of my key contacts. And then I came back, and to be honest, there wasn't really. That was probably the quickest I've ever moved on something. Like when I spoke to Casey and heard what she had to say and what she envisioned for the future. And then I spoke to the goalkeeper coach. I actually bumped into Wilco on the promenade in Nice. Which that's a side story. Okay. But that was literally maybe like 2-3. That was like 2-3 days before I was notified that they'd registered interest. And
do you think he actually bumped in, or was that like a little setup?
I don't. You know what? I've never asked him, but
So, yeah, that's dodgy. By the way.
Stalking me. No, I think they were obviously out there watching the games anyway. Because obviously at the time Alex Greenwood was playing for England. Was at United and obviously playing for England, so they were out there watching her, and obviously Abby signed for them as well. I don't even know, maybe when they were out there or before the World Cup, I'm sure. So they would have been out watching their own players and the opposition and just the World Cup. But I bumped into him. I remember specifically bumping into him and never meeting him before, but sort of he recognised me and I sort of recognised, you know what I mean? It was one of them where obviously our paths had crossed before. And I was just like, oh, how are you doing? I was with my mum and dad. My mum and dad were like, who's that? Like, you're in France. Who are you bumping into now? And then a couple of days later, I got a call. So it happened very, very fast. But I knew as soon as it's probably the quickest I've ever moved on something, because when I heard the plan, I was like, I want in. That's it. And after I'd spoken to Wilco, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm excited. I want this to happen. And we'd been talking to other people at the time, but nothing excited me like that did. And so I was all in.
You talk about the Bayern Munich game being the biggest game in Germany.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a huge game as well because it's against bitter rivals as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you look at rivalries and think, is there in my game when we used to play, there'd be like certain teams that you'd hate. Liverpool would be one, City would be the other, Leeds. Is there any teams that you look on and think, we've got to do these today regardless?
I honestly feel I want to win every single... So I feel a little bit like that with everyone. I'm like, nah, not having it. Don't want these to win today. And I'm always so competitive and aggressive for everything. For every game, every challenge, whether it's a small-sided game in training, you're my teammate, but I'm still, I don't want it. I want to win this game. And that's how it's got to be. Otherwise, it puts me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. And then, City and Liverpool definitely there's definitely a thing there.